Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to the day two session of Base SAS. So what we are going to do today is the list in front of you that we will be working on various techniques to import, export, uh, proc, to copy data or to create data set into SAS. And then we'll be working with a lot of data sets and files, SAS files. And after that we will work with work reading and subsetting SAS data sets. So before I go ahead, I have gotten feedback regarding that I need to okay. So before I go ahead, I like as per the feedback, you wanted to know more about the base SAS and what base SAS is. So basically, let me tell you that SAS is a statistical analysis software or system. So this was, started by an agriculture institute in California, and in 1961, and they developed this tool for their analysis, and then after that it got so famous, so that most of the organizations started using SAS for their analytical work. And basically FDA, you must be you must have heard of FDA, that Food and Drug Authority of America, right? So that uses SAS for every sample whatever they receive for a medicine. So they want the data regarding every medicine in SAS format only. So it is well known and world known tool for analysis services or analysis practice. People have started using it, and in most of the health organizations or people who are involved in statistical analysis, they use SAS as a primary tool. There are other tools in the market like you can say R, and then we have SPSS or other tools as well in the market which are used for the same purpose. But SAS is the mostly used tool across the industry, across the world. So the components of basically SAS, I told you that the SAS software which we get, the window which you are looking at right now, this is basically called SAS base. So SAS base, the software is called SAS base, but again, the material or the course which we go through, right? So that is also known as SAS base in the market. But when we talk about macros and proc SQL, so we say that those topics come into SAS advanced course. So that is what the course categorization is, that basically the commands or the syntax or program which we write into the base SAS software come into the base SAS course curriculum. But proc SQL and SAS macros, they come into advanced SAS. Let me tell you that apart from this component, the SAS window which you see, apart from this, SAS has provided you other GUI version wherein you can interact, and that is called as SAS Enterprise Guide. So let me open that first. If you go to the SAS folder here, I have SAS Enterprise Guide version 6.1. So if I click it, it is again a SAS tool, right? So either you can have this SAS or you can work on this SAS Enterprise Guide as well. You will be working on the same way, but working on SAS Enterprise Guide is user friendly. I mean, you work very easily. What happens basically? The SAS tool which you saw here, it is on your local, right? So whatever data sets which you create, that gets saved into your local system. But when you are using the SAS Enterprise Guide, then you have advantages that you can access the data available on servers as well. You can create local databases as well as you can interact with the data sets located on servers. So right here in the server list, you can see that servers, then private OLAP servers. OLAP is nothing but online Uh, okay, so OLAP is basically OLTP, and OLAP you must have heard of. This is online analytical protocol or processing. So there are databases which are specifically used for analytical things, analytical services or analytical processing. So you access those databases from this server list. Right now I'm not connected to any server, that is why you're not getting them here. But if I click on this plus sign, you will get local. So local is nothing but my system. So whatever databases or sorry data sets are located on my system, those will get reflected here. But right now I'm not connected to anything, or I have not linked any local data sets here. So you might not see them. But like in a minute, after some time, I'll show you that how to create data sets on your system. Then we'll be interacting, or we can navigate to them. You can see that I have got all the libraries from my system, and that is why you get a lot of folders. And if I try to navigate from this folder to other data sets, then definitely you will get some of them. So if you want me, just give me a minute. I'll show you that how to navigate to the data sets located on my system. So I have a one data set on my desktop. So I'll go to my desktop like here. Which is basically SAS data set. So this is OGS text.sas7b.dat. So all the files which you see right now are from my desktop. So this is the way how you can navigate into SAS Enterprise Guide for any data set which you want to look for. If I double click on it, you will see that data set will open into the SAS environment like this. So this is also a very used on very extensive way in the market, SAS Enterprise Guide. It's nothing but you can say the client version of the SAS based software which we use for our day-to-day work. So I think that's enough for the SAS introduction and the tools available for this. Now as I initially said that what I wanted to cover today, so let's go ahead and I'll be starting with the topic which we have mentioned for today. So it says various techniques to import and export proc or copy. So basically the first topic which we have for today is proc copy. Proc copy is a procedure using which any dataset can be copied to an output library from an input library. So you must have remember that what library is. I told you that library is nothing but the reference to a location where you save your datasets. So in SAS environment, I did show you that these are the libraries wherein you must have some data in it. Like this, these are the data sets into the SAS library, and I told you the difference between the work library and the SAS help or SAS user library. That in work library, whatever you save, that will get vanished as soon as you close your session, right? Now there was another library, this SATYA, which I created. So whatever data set I'm going to save here, that will be for my reference. So now when we talk about this proc copy, so let me just tell you that what this does. It says that proc copy is a procedure. So I told you that there are two parts of SAS program. First one is the data part and another is proc. So this is a proc part, and which is used to copy any data set from one library to another. The syntax is given below. So if let's see, I'll show you the example first. So in SAS help, you can see that I have a lot of data sets here. Now let me show you, or let me just copy a data set from this SAS help library to my work library. Right? I'm going to copy any data set from SAS help library to work library. How you'll be doing that? So the syntax is given here that you will need to write proc copy, then in is nothing but the input library where your data set is already there. So you need to mention the library. Just give me a moment, please. Alright, so as I said that in is nothing but the input library where you copy your data set. So I need to give the name of SAS library where my data set is there. So I will write SAS help, and then you need to write out is another keyword for the library where you want to save your data sets. So it's a work, and as you know that after every statement you need to use semicolon to terminate your statement. Then you will go here, or you will come back to this next line, and here you need to give the name of data sets which you want to copy. So that you will give with select and any data set. Let's say I will say air. Okay, and then you need to give the run statement. If I run this statement, you can see it's running right now, and it said copying SAS help. If you go to the log window, it says that copying SAS help.air to work.air. So SAS help.air means library SAS help. The dataset from SAS library help has been copied to work library, and its name is air. And it says that there were 144 observations read from the dataset SAS help.air. Now if I show you or if I go to the work library, you can see that air database has been copied to it. Right? Now just go to if I go back to the code, you can see that what I have written, proc copy in is equal to SAS help, out is equal to work, then select air and run. So what we have done is we have copied one data set which is called air from SAS library SAS help to library work. Now this is what I said that I have done it for only one data set. Suppose that in case you have multiple data sets and you want to copy, so what you need to do is you just need to write them one by one, not one by one. Basically what I mean is, like, first of all I have already written air, then you can mention any other data set like BMT, this, then I have a third data set that's called by. Okay, so there were three data sets I have written now. You might see that air is already there in the work library. Okay, now with the air data set, I'm going to copy BMT and by as well. I need to come here and I will press F8. So as soon as I will press F8, you can see that I have got three folders here, or three data sets in the work library, that air, BMT and by. So we need to read the log window carefully, right? So you can see that copying SAS help.air to work.air, first one, copying SAS help.bmt to work.bmt, number 2, and then SAS help.by to work.by, number 3. So all the data sets have been copied from SAS help library to work library. Now if you want to just copy them into any other library, so as I mentioned, I told you that Satya is another library where you can copy. So you need to just mention that SATYA and press F8. Sorry, spelling of a library was wrong. SATYA, not SATYE. Y. So I'll click F8 and you can see that I have got all the three data sets into the Satya library. So this is how you use Proc Copy to copy the data sets from one library to another. Now it says that, for example, following code copies two data sets, ADOM message and ADS message from SAS help into the work library. Now, since an Excel workbook can be used as a SAS library after the appropriate libname statement, one can use proc copy even read or write to from or to Excel workbook, right? So when I talk about Excel workbook, so Excel workbook is nothing but a type of database, you can say, having the sheets in it, worksheets in it. If there is any data, so that data behaves like as a you can say the data behaves like as a database, or the Excel workbook behaves like as a database. So this is how you can even treat an Excel file as database, and you can import or export the data into that as well. So the next thing which we are going to do is the import and export wizard. So the import wizard enables you to read data from an external data source and write it to the SAS data set. So basically, if you look into your SAS window, the first option says file, and here you have options like import data and export data. So these things are you can use to import data into SAS or export data from the SAS, right? So let me show you the further options. And before I do that, let me create a file here so that I can show you that how to import data or export data from that. So I'll be creating a test file here. Let's say test text, and I will put some data into it. Okay. So let me insert some data. Let's say name. First column is name. Then I have ID here, right? So I'll give name as Satyendra. Then ID as I will give 10. Next line I will give Ram. Then ID I will give 12. Then I will take, let's say, John. Then ID I will give 15. Then let's say I'll take Jeff, and then I will say 20. So this is the data which I have created. I'll save this on my desktop, and I will go back to the system, SAS system. So here you can see that I have a list of a lot of sources, the type of sources from which I can import data into the SAS environment. So we have Excel file. First one is Microsoft Excel workbook, then Microsoft Access database, Microsoft Excel workbook on PC file server, then Access, comma separated values, tab delimiter, delimited files. So these are the various type of data sources from which you can import data into SAS environment. What I'm going to do now is I'll take, as I have taken tab delimited file, so I will select tab delimited file. I'll click next. So it says where is the file located. I will have to browse that file. So that's on my desktop, and its name was test. So I will browse to the test file like this. Click next. And it says member. Member is nothing but a type of databases. It says that what type of database data set it is. So if I'm into the work library, I have the list of these data sets. Basically, a member is telling you to append the data. Suppose that if you already have a data set into your library, then you can append into the any existing data sets. So right now, let's say I want to create a new data set. So I'll have to give any new name here. Let's say I will give new. Okay, and whatever the code, like what I mean code, right now I'm just using import export wizard. So if you're using import export wizard, SAS automatically creates a syntax for this for you. Okay, so let me write that with the name of hello. And if I browse it, so let's see, I browse it to my desktop, and the name I will give it to SAS hello. Okay, and I can click on finish. So as soon as I have clicked on finish, you can go back to the log window, and you can see that that my proc started from here. It tells you the external file interface, SAS developed code, desktop code, Then it has given some its code, and you can just read the notes into the blue line, that in file C user SAS user desktop text or text is the file name, and it has given other things. Then when last modified and created, 4 records were read from this file. The minimum record length was 6 and maximum record length was 12. So it has created a new data set into work library, has 4 observation and 2 variables. So we can go to work and you can see this is the data set which got created here. If I click on it, you can see that these are the records which were there in the text file. So by using import wizard, I've just imported the data from SAS from text file to the SAS environment. Now, you remember that I told you that whatever operation I'm doing here, whether it is import or export, SAS creates a code for that, syntax for that. So which I saved into the SAS window. So let's see, if I open this, you can see that this is the program which SAS has created for us. So if next time you want to import the data from that text file, you can directly run this code. Okay, so it says proc import out work.new data file. This is the link to that file. Tab delimited. Get name yes. Get name yes is basically for the headers. If I say it no, it will not pick the headers. So let us suppose if I say no, and if I run it again, let's see that what happens. So basically what it has done is, it has because we already had that data set new. I will say new.1. So it will create a new data set for you, and you can see it does not have the headers. It says var1, var2, variable 1, variable 2. So that yes or no is nothing but specifies the headers, whether you want to import headers into your SAS data set or not. Right? So this is the code created by SAS and which is reusable. You can use it anytime to import data from the text file. Okay. Now, before I do anything with the Excel file, let me tell you that there is some component missing for the Excel file, which we can use to import data into the SAS environment. But the same I can show you into the enterprise guide. What I mean is I'm going to import some data from a text file to the SAS environment, right? So I'll go here. I have import data. I have clicked on import data. Now it gave me this wizard. So here I have some files, test1, test. So I'll select test1 and I'll click open. So you can see that it going to see it has picked the test1 file from this location, and it is going to create a data set into the work library called test1. If I click next, opening Excel files, this is exactly how ETL operation works. ETL is extraction, transformation and loading thing. So again, you have option if you want to see the code which is SAS going to create for you. If you click embedded, then it will create a code for you right here, and if you will not select it, it will not create that. So basically, if you are working using enterprise guide or you are using SAS, both are useful. SAS also creates code for you, and enterprise guide can also. So this is the data which I have just imported from the SAS, imported from the Excel file, right? And if you really want to see it, that how this looks like, so you can go here into the work library which we had. So let me close it. Local files. Oh, sorry, library. So if I click on library, I have work library here. You can see that this is the text data which is got created here. But as I told that work library, all the data sets which are there in the work library are session specific. So whatever data set which we have created here, that is only for this session, right? And whatever data sets which I have created here, those are specific to this work library. I don't see test here, and you do not see these data sets into this session. So both are separate sessions but are specific to the work library. As soon as these sessions or the SAS systems will be closed, these data sets will also vanish. There will not be any existence of these things. Alright, so let's go to the PPT once again. So this was the import wizard which we just have used into SAS Enterprise Guide, and then we used into the SAS environment. It says that steps we have just followed. You can go through them once again. Similarly, export. To export any dataset from the SAS, let's see, this is the dataset which I'm going to export. So I'll have to go to export data. Then from which library you want to pick up data, whether from Satya or from work. I've selected work. Then all the data sets it will show from the work library. So I have, let's suppose I have selected by, okay. It says that write variable labels as column name. So if I have selected it, I'll click on next. These are the things, the type in which you want to export your data. Let's see, let me select Excel, but I know that Excel was giving some error on my system. It will ask me to select any workbook which is located on my system. So let me create a textbook here, text file. I have created a one. All right. Okay, it's not letting me create. So as I already told that there might be some issue with the some issue with the Excel and SAS on my system. Let me create a text file then. All right. So these are all the files which have been created. The version was different. Sorry. So I have selected one Excel file. I'll click save or append. You got both the options. If data is already there, then you can either replace or append. So I'll say append, and if I click OK, so it is exporting some data into it. Let's see. Give it a minute, and then we'll go back and check that. Okay. So this is exactly what I was saying, is that there is some problem using Excel, and the component of Excel is missing for SAS. So I'll export the data into text file for you, right? So let me select a tab delimited file. I'll click yes. I'll save the file into my desktop and then in IntelliPath. I'll select the text file, save, I'll say append, and it says that append is not supported. Do you want to replace? I'll say okay and finish. I'll go back to the location. Okay, this was the Excel file which we created initially. It has a lot of add-ins, that is why it takes time. Let's give it a minute. Alright, so it does not have any data into the Excel file, but I remember that I created a text file here. So let's see where that text file is. Okay, this was the library. These are the data sets which I have here. Okay, I'm not sure that what happened with it, but let me try again. I'll export some other data sets. Close it. Go back to file. Export data from work library, the air. Next, I'll select tab delimited. Tab delimited. Next, I want to save my file into desktop in IntelliPath. Tab delimited. Let me give it a name. Test file. I'll select this. Okay. Replace. Next. This is a place where it's giving me to save the code. Let's say I'll save it again on desktop and I will replace, because I know that already there is a hello file. Okay. Now, if I go back into the location and check for the file, so you can see that we have a file here and it has some data. So this is same data for the air data set. So we have exported data from air data set from the work library to this particular text file. And the code which we saved here, that is this. So if I go back, okay, so this is the old data only. Let me create a new code for it for you. So, all right, if I do it once again, export data, work, next, tab delimited. This is what we exactly used. Where I want to save the file, I'll save the file into the same location like this. Okay, replace, next. If you want statement to be generated, okay, I did selected hello. Okay, I did not mention the location that time. Replace and finish. So if you go back and check into this hello file, you will get the code to export data now. Okay, there was some confusion, right? So the first code which you see, that was for the import. This is proc import, and then here you have proc export. So this is how, what you can do is you can create or as we have created the code for SAS import and export, and you can further use these codes or you can modify this as per your requirement, and you can use it further. Right now we are using text file, but you can work with the Excel, Access, SPSS file or other files as well, wherein you can work with your data. I'll show you the same thing from the enterprise guide, that how can you export your data. So this is the data which I have, test one. I'll go here, I'll click on export. It says that export data imported from the text.excel. So let's see. It says save in, where you want to save the data. So I'll go to IntelliPath and I'll create this Excel file wherein I want to save the data once again. So if I go back to the IntelliPath location, so this is the data set which got exported into the SAS format. If you want to change the format, you can anytime do that, right? So these are the various ways you can import and export data from SAS to your local. Now let's move to the next thing, that's reading and subsetting the data set. So basically this is the part where we work a lot of data mining things as in SQL, when we can filter the data, we can create subsets of the data sets. So the similar kind of activities we are going to do here. So it says that we can create a data set using data stored in another data set. So let us suppose we have a data set into one library, or let us say that usually we have data into SAS help, a lot of data we have here. So we can subset some of the data from any of these data sets, and we can create another data set. So the syntax for that would be nothing but same as you can see here, that data libref1.b. libref1 is a library reference, then data set name is b, and the next row you are using set libref2.a. So libref is a library reference of the second library and where data set is a, and run. So what it's going to do is you are creating a new data set libref1.b, and you are putting all the data from library 2 of the data set A, right? So above code will create a data set B with the data and descriptor portion identical to the data set A. libref1 and libref2 can be same or different, right? Libref is just the library reference which you want to give, and they can be temporary or permanent. When I say temporary, it could be work library, or permanent, it is your defined library. So earlier we have seen the data statement beginning with the data step. Another function of the data statement, it gives the name of a new dataset being created. Note, if dataset is specified and the data statement is pre-existing, it will be overwritten, so kindly be careful. So that is the thing to keep in mind, that if libref1.b is already existing and you are running this code again, so the previous dataset or the initial dataset will get replaced. Okay, overwritten. That will be overwritten. So let me go back to my SAS window and I will write a program. So let's say I'm going to write work where I want to save my dataset, or I want to create new dataset. I will say new data set. Okay, I have given new dataset. Let's see what happens. Now what I want to set it as, I want that it should have the same data or the same descriptor portion as this data set, which is in the SAS help library. So you need to mention libref2 and DESKACT. This is the exact name which I have given. I will end it and I will run my proc for the data step. I have run it. Let me go back to log. It says that there were 123 observations read from the data set this, and if I go back and check into the data set, oh sorry, into this system, if I go back and check into my work library, so you can see that new data set has been created. It would have the same data, same descriptor portion as SAS help.descat or dataset. So you can see that this was the proc system where we manipulated data. Here we have just created a new data set. So these are the two programs which are part of a SAS program. One is the data step and another is the proc step. So this is how we use our system. Okay. Now let me go back and alright. Now the set statement, this is what exactly we have just done. The set statement reads observation from the SAS dataset for further processing in a data step. By default, the set statement reads all observation and all variables from the input dataset. The set statement can read temporary or permanent dataset. The terminology is, from this slide onwards till the end of base SAS, we will refer to the dataset given in the SAS statement as output dataset and the dataset given in the set statement as input dataset. All right. Okay, let's move to the next slide. So here what it says, the things to remember. So while you are creating the data sets using set statement, what are the things which you need to keep in mind so that you should not go haywire, right? So in case you interchange the line 2, and if your output data set exists, then the input data set will be overwritten. Understand? When I say input, if I use input data set here and output data set over there, so as soon as you will interchange, your existing data set will vanish. So you need to keep it in mind, and you need to be aware that what exactly you are going to use so that you can use it in a better way. Then in case when you do some mistake, if output data set does not exist, then input data set will be overwritten with the null data set. Okay. In case you overwrite any dataset in SAS help, you might get an error message, or worse, you might lose that dataset entirely, because that is by default dataset given by the SAS. And if you overwrite that, then definitely you will lose it and you cannot get it until unless you will not download from Google or SAS again. In some cases, you might have to reinstall SAS, else it might not launch. So this is one of the possibility which can happen in the worst condition. Now, please decide beforehand which is the input data set and which is the output data set till you master SAS. So since I don't want you learning this the hard way, so be aware that what you are going to do, and first of all keep in mind that what exactly you want to do and then do that. So input data set comes in the set statement and must exist, the second line, and output data set will be the new data set which you want to create. If it is already existing, it will be overwritten as soon as you will run these statements. Alright, so on the next slide, it says that create a replica of SAS help.or sales in the work library and call the output data set as sales. So this is for you as an assignment. Do that and let's see if you are able to do it or not, right? Keep in mind that you are copying a data or you are taking input data set from SAS help.or sales and you are creating a new data set into your work library. All right. Now, when we talked about the subsetting of data sets, so here is what where statement. So see how you gonna create a subset for your data set. So where statement subset observation that meets a particular condition, general form of a where statement, where an expression. This is the one line which you need to put it into your SAS program. Now where expression is a sequence of operands and operators. Operands include constant and variables, operator symbols that request a comparison, arithmetic calculation or logical operators. So it could be your and or equal to, less.
Muted. Unmuted.
Okay, so these things you can use for your operators. Now then submitting means filtering observation or creating a small data set from a big data set. Now consider the data set sales we have just created. So we have created an OR sales data set from the work library. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to create a subset where product line is equal to children. So this is the example what they have given. Now let us see that whether we have OR sales into the SAS help or not for us, so that we can SAS help OR sales. I will not go through the complete list. What I'm going to do is I will check whether I have that data set into here or not. So I will write proc print data is equal to SAS help dot OR. It was OR sales, right? OR sales, and then run. If I will have data here, then it will print it for me. Otherwise, it will give an error. Okay, so we have this data set into SAS help window. Now, what I'm going to do here is I will create a subset of it, right? I will say data. Then let us say I'm going to create it into the work library. Then I will say SAS data set, or let's say subset, and then I need to use set. Okay, so this is what it's going to create into the work library, but I'm getting the input data set which I have, that is from the SAS help. So I will write SAS help dot OR sales, right? Okay, I need to take OR sales. It says where the condition which I was supposed to use. Let me print it again so that we can see that what condition I want to look for. Let's say product category. Okay, clothes. So I'm going to create a data set or subset where product category is equal to clothes. So I'll take only all the records where product category is clothes. I want to create a data set with those records only, and I'll run it. So as soon as I will run it, you can see I will go back to log. It says 240 observation read from the SAS dataset OR sales where product category is equal to clothes. So I'll go to my work library and you can see that subset has been created and it has all the records with the product category clothes. Alright, it has in total 240 records and all the records for clothes. So we have created a SAS data set or subset from the OR sales SAS health library wherein we have taken all the records for the clothes. So this is how we have created a subset using where clause. Now there are other ways as well which you can use to create data set. So we'll be looking into them as well. Let me move to the next slide. Now we create the data set this from this which has the data pertaining to the year. So again they want you to do, this would be your assignment, that you are going to create a data set where year should be 1999 alone. Okay. Alright, operands. A constant operand is a fixed value. Okay. Character value must be enclosed in quotation marks and numeric values do not use quotation marks. So you must be aware that in SAS we have only two data types. One is numeric and another is character. So for characters you need to use quotation marks as I have used into this with clothes. But for numeric fields you need not to use these single quotes. You can directly give a numerical value. A variable operand must be a variable coming out from an input data set. For example, where gender is equal to M, it was a character field, that is why they have enclosed into quotation mark. But salary is a numerical field, that is why they have given the numbers as it is without numerical field. In the above two statements, identify the variable and the constants numeric or character. Right? So it's very and pretty easy. Let us use one of the examples which with the numerical field. Okay. So we have just done a example with the character field. Now with the numerical field. In order to do it with the numerical field, let's say we have quantity, right? So what I'm going to do is I will write this again, but let's say _2, and this time I will take quantity here. In order to take quantity, I'll copy it here. And I want to create this data set where the quantity is more than 100. As soon as we will run this statement, SAS will create another data set for us. It says there were 866 observations read from the data set SAS help.or sales, where quantity is greater than 100. So if I go back to the expression window, okay, I want to see my expression explorer window. Okay, so in order to see that, okay, explorer, work library, this is subset 2. If I double click on it, you can see that all the records which I have here has the number of items, that is quantity actually, that will be greater than 100. It will not have any field in this column which is less than 100. So this is how I have created another data set having the 866 records. So basically this is the way you were using where clause, but the difference which you have that for character fields you use single quotes, for numerical fields you do not use single quotes. So this is how you can create a data set using where clause, right? Now let's move to the next slide. It says comparison operators. So in SAS we have these comparison operators which you can use, like we have used equal to and greater than. So similarly, these are the symbols in the first column which you see. You can use either these symbols. You can use EQ, NE, not equal to. So you can use this string form as well. The meaning of this is given here, and how to use them, it's given into the example figure. So first one is equal to, then not equal to, again not equal to, not equal to. So you can use not equal to 3 times or 3 different ways. Then greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or inoperant. So for any same as you do in SAS, SQL. So these are the ways you can use these comparison operators into SAS to create your subset, to filter your data set, or to create a subset of a data set from one library to another. Now arithmetic operators which we use, so arithmetic operators indicate that an arithmetic calculation is performed, right? And the symbol is given here, that 2 asterisk is for exponentiation, okay, the power basically. Multiplication 1 asterisk, division same as you do in mathematics. So basically exponentiation or the power thing, you can use 2 asterisk, and for multiplication 1. So we'll be using these as well when we'll be working with huge data, or if it would be required to create any manipulation in the data. Then logical operators combines or modify expressions, so and, or not. These are the symbols which you can use, and you use and, or not while creating or subsetting data set, or while doing some data mining. So you'll be using this as well. And this is the example what they have given here. Okay, so they are trying to create a subset okay, they are trying to create a subset which says a data subset 2 and set SAS health.or cells were year in 2000 or 2002, and the product line is children and profit is greater than 5,000. So if you want, we can run the direct statement and we'll see that how it is going to create subset, let's say 3 for us. So as soon as we have ran it, you can go back to your Explorers, work, and you can see subset 3 has been created. So this is what we have just created, right? It has 63 records. If you go to the log window, you can see that as well, that there were 63 observation read from the data set. So you can see that wherever we will get error, you will get like this. Error is always in red color, your successful nodes are in blue color, and warnings you will get in green color. So we haven't got any warning yet, but there would be things where we'll be using getting the warnings as well. Yeah. Okay, so the old scan ID was 351. Yes, correct. Yes, correct. Yeah. Day number क्या है?